we'd think would be doing well in the Chakram meta, right? And Orb was one of the ones that came on the list as well as Axe and Hammer. And Marker has got like, what is it, like over 20 sets reported on Fate?
Yeah, exactly.
So we've got ourselves a little bit of a classic matchup here, right? This is like what we would have expecting Godly versus Frizzle to look like 6 months ago.
Yeah, exactly.
but we've got it with Marker versus Bamya here, starting off on Fortress of Lion.
So far, Bamya looking really strong in the Sword Mirror, or not Sword Mirror, sorry, Scythe Mirror. The side light comes in, now the weapon toss as well, and Marker goes back to the wall. And all things considered, a tough spot to be in. Your one conversion into a KO move to get KO'd here.
Yeah, gets hit by the neutral light, sent flying off to the right side. Bamya could... I don't know if Bamya's a down sig heavy Mordex, but that's always been like the edge guard that I'm expecting to happen. But no, nice job actually going down, knowing that the recovery would knock him off the top. Covers the entire wall, and takes the lead 3-2.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some relief from Bamya to get a reprieve from the Chakram and playing a more familiar matchup, and one that Bamya is very comfortable in. This Scythe Mirror has been all Bamya so far, and Marker really can't find much here. Gets it down there, flips off stage. Bamya in a bad spot now. Enlight into recovery. Bamya having to recover high. Sweat beads come out. Marker respecting it. Holds center stage. Holds that weapon spawn as well. Doesn't swap, but nice damage there. Trying to fight back into this game.
I also mentally said Marky Moo in my head too. No, what is going on right here? What is this? Marker now getting... Oh, hold on.
Okay, Marker off stage now and looking to find this KO onto Bamya. Bamya gets back to the stage unarmed and he fights back. He's saying, I don't even need a weapon to fight this Orb. The Orb can't scrap with that unarmed, and Bamya goes crazy. Nair GC sidelight recovery to take that one, and Bamya continues to extend this lead 3 stock to 1.
Yeah, sorry about that, everyone. My play-by-play interrupted by Toast running into the middle of the stage, but I can now see that Bamya is going into the middle of the stage himself. Scythe down air, neutral light comes through. Yeah, this is... That's a good. I like that follow up. That's that side light into neutral signature. Don't charge it for the 3 blasts. It's still strong enough to knock out the top, even though it's the weaker variant.
Yeah.
But so far, this is looking really, really strong for Bamya. Stronger than I was expecting. So we'll have to see how. Let's see if Marker can make this comeback.
I like the Orb pick here. I'm an Orb player myself, and I love to see what they're able to do versus the Gauntlets, but some of the difficulty sometimes for Orb is dealing with these very scrappy and bursty weapons, and the Gauntlets proving to be such, especially on the hands of Bamya now. And like comes out, Marker gets sent into the corner and just scrambling to find a hit, but when everyone knows what you want on Orb, it's hard to get that one thing, that side light, that opener there with the end light. But
yeah, I feel like Orb kind of finds itself in a position that old blasters used to, which is that you're like, okay, are you going to downlight or are you going to gravity cancel downlight?
Yep.
And then Orb kind of does a similar thing where it's looking for that side light either on the ground or in the air. Gets pummeled away. The Orb now not even in its hands. Marker gets that new Scythe. Could go in for a dash up down here, but I don't think he wants to go off stage at all at this state in the game. And that downer will put him off the left side of the stage. Bamya doesn't have the gauntlets that time to go for a recovery, but Cider sends him on the other side, can kick him away. Good recoveries coming out from Marker. And that neutral light recovery could bring it down to 1 stock to 1.
Can you find it here? You just need to find the landing. Doesn't find it with the end light, though. The side light does send Bamya off stage. We go deep. We get the recovery into the one. Bamya can't make it back.
Okay. I like what I'm seeing from Marker, especially because this is in game 1. The game started off so in favor of Bamya, but now it's too soon for me to tell whether this was like Bamya being like, the game's already won. I'm not going to put that much energy into it, and the next thing you know, it's 1 stock to 1. He goes like, okay, I guess I have to hit him with something.
Yeah.
But I'd like to take the side that it was Marker getting used to how Bamya was playing over the duration of game 1, and that game 2 will look a lot different.
Yeah, I feel like that's some kind of the intricacy of Gauntlets is that, like, early on in the set, Gauntlet is good because you don't know what to expect, and then later on it gets better as well, but in the middle it kind of gets rough, and that's kind of where Marker is able to deal with some of the Gauntlet.
Are you talking like about follow-ups off side light?
Things like that, yeah. Where early on you're like, okay, I'm asleep at the wheel. Middle, you're like, okay, I'm not going to fall for it.
I guess I'll spot dodge, and then they like wait, and they jump and they nair you. And
yeah, and that's like the game 5. You're like, oh.
Okay. We are now on a stage where stocks can fly very soon. Fate prefers it with that higher force on Orb, right? Allows the weapon to knock out at what some would consider like a normal timing. But meanwhile, Gauntlets can definitely just take you off the top of the stage in orange. So let's see what this Bamya's got. Nairs him down to the center of the stage, neutralizes him, disarms him already. He's taking that much damage, but that unarmed Nair will send him flying to the right. Okay, Marker. Let's see what he can do with the Scythe.
Looking for it here, and Bamya going off stage waiting. I like that, waiting for the second beat, expecting Marker to go for a hit and gets a whiff punish there. Or I guess Marker didn't even hit a button, but Bamya gets the recovery, flips the situation. Now Bamya in a great spot with that side air to catch Marker trying to recover back to the stage, and Bamya takes that stock. Again, a lead for Bamya.
Yeah, Bamya doing pretty well here in game number 2. Marker waiting for a weapon. Bamya, will he deny it? It looks like he won't. Wanted to fight over it instead. Got a solid 2 hits, but Sidelight Cider comes through. Ser catching him here at the edge of the stage would probably be enough to knock out, but Bamya that had to have been like max range neutral air right over the ledge there, basically grabbing him from underneath the stage. Doesn't get anything else off of it, but still, so far so good for Bamya. Anything after this is extra credit. Ooh, and that's not a good start.
Oh, wow, what a dodge, realizing that Marker was going to look for reversal. Marker somehow makes it back with that recovery, but Bamya continues to fight off stage, realizing you could have flipped that situation, but doesn't find it there. Marker gets the Sidelight Cider, and as you were saying, high force orb. At that damage, you're expecting to see most orb legends KO there, but it definitely helps to be high damage on Fate.
I'm just impressed Marker scrapped with Bamya that long on the left side of the stage.
Yeah, that
if that orb recovery didn't hit, he was in danger of falling.
Yeah.
So great that he was able to get that connection there, and now he's taking a lead. So much confidence coming out from Marker here. Double recovery, though. We'll even that up real quick. What are we going to do here over this weapon? Are we just going to stay Gauntlets versus Orb? It looks like it. Ooh.
Nice avoidance on that down air. Very crucial. Now Marker gets center stage, and Bamya has to land back down into the end light. We swap back into another Orb, and Marker now seem to have control. Bamya fights back with that end light, and now Marker off stage on the wall. Gets back somehow. Bamya gets an end light once again, and Marker has been struggling to hold this center stage for any meaningful time because Bamya is scouring for it. The down air waits out some movement options, gets the recovery, takes another stock. Bamya seizes the lead once again.
All right, close enough, I think, for Marker to be able to bring this back. Ooh. Nice job. Sidelight side air could go down for a down air. He's low on jumps, but the dodge up actually responds pretty nicely to Marker covering for a landing. He ended up sidelighting towards the edge of the stage, and now some more damage is coming in from the gauntlets. 2 end lights in a row. Oh, waiting out for anything. Bamya with some confidence there. Just being like, okay, what are you going to do? Are you going to dodge down? And that's, I think, the wrong direction with the special move. Like, that's not recovery. Ends up going down, and now it's even 1-1.
I mean, if somehow Marker dodges down into that, that's the greatest read ever, but unfortunately not there. Now Bamya kind of forfeits the stock there, but nonetheless continues to pick up on where he left off with the scythe, goes for the N-sig there, doesn't find it, but continues the pressure, and now we're weapon-starving Marker, and Bamya having such a big lead. Marker has to fight back, get some space with that unarmed sidelight, picks up a scythe now. Hopefully some range advantage will help you get back in this game as Marker, nice sidelight on that whiff side air.
Yeah, a lot of times Marker's gone for this dash jump down air right afterwards. Yeah, sidelight
so early.
Air, sidelight recovery, that's going to take him down. And that's like the flip side of like what just makes Gauntlet so good all the time. We talked about this a little bit in game 1 where it's like, okay, I'm going to look at what my opponent is doing off of sidelight. And then you have to look to see if whether your opponent is going to mix up their follow-ups off of sidelight.
Yeah, exactly.
and things get so much more difficult there. When that gravity cancel sidelight recovery comes through and your dodge is gone, I mean, they're just going to let the recovery rip. And that's going to take you out super early on World's End. And so now we're up 2-0, Bamya versus Marker. I think Marker did a lot better in that last game. Surprised? Not too surprised we're going back to World's End. I think he just wants to try and get as early knockouts as possible. I think we've seen that on stages that with bigger blast zones it benefits Bamya.
Ooh,
and so
nice.
far Marker starting off really strong. It's the first lead that he's had in the set so far at the beginning of the game. Let's see if he holds on to it.
I like these end lights a lot and goes deep for a nair there. So aggressive. Bamya tries to flip it. Doesn't get the nair there. Blue sweat beads. Marker gets the better of it with the side air. Bamya has to make it back. Does fight back with the side air. It got real tricky off stage.
Yeah, I could have sworn I was expecting one of those nairs from Bamya to hit.
Exactly.
But Marker's movement's pretty good actually off stage. Like he puts himself in these situations where I'm like over here tensing up, terrified for his stock because he's got a lead. But he comes back and he makes it look so comfortable. So. I just got to trust Marker in those offstage scenarios more often because Bamya cannot land a move on him when he goes off stage like that. And now he's close to taking the lead here in Game 3.
The gauntlets have been so important for Bamya's success, but this orb can be said, the same can be said about Marker's orb. The sidelight side air finds it there. Both of these players heavily leaned into gauntlets and orb in the previous game, so I think that's definitely what we expect to see here as Marker holds onto the orb. Bamya picks up a scythe though, looking to find this KO relatively soon here. You don't want Fate to get so much extra credit. Yeah,
Bamya is so disciplined as well on Mordex. I haven't heard a single werewolf grunt, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's no signature coming up from there. Okay, I guess I had to say something about it for him to go like, wait a second. Neutral signature will play that sound effect. But it's been mostly off of the light attack kits of his weapons that he's been having so much success with.
Ooh.
With, you know, I mean, recovery is like... I'm realizing now that I think about it, I always call it like a heavy attack, but yeah, like it's in that middle ground between a signature and a light attack, because it's going to knock out. It's so strong. Bamya even things up 2-2 here. Antu neutralized into a nair. Cider comes right afterwards. Marker has to jump out of the way, but Bamya completely dominating the stage here on second stock.
Yeah, this is the Scythe mirror that led to Bamya having such a big lead in game number 1, but Marker does to flip it. Bamya gets it down there. Marker has to avoid the ground pound, can make it back, and the dodge up doesn't reach the wall, and Bamya, with some mental trickery, somehow gets the edge guard there. Doesn't hit the last hit necessary, but Marker kind of getting juked out there and not able to make it back.
Hindsight tells me maybe it would have been better to get hit by the ground pounds, get the jump back, and go for like a counter hit.
Yeah, exactly.
Because by dodging it, you lost the stock. I mean, it was a tough situation. Bamya played that beautifully, got his jumps with the down air, forced Marker to be off the right side of the stage, and then the timing of the ground pound forced Marker's hand. But still not so far behind that he can't bring it back. That Cider just barely not knocking out. Another one definitely will. Gets the Cider on the edge of the stage. Tough to do, to be able to get that aim correctly, right? Because like, it looked nice because it connected, but if you miss that orb Cider, you fall.
You fall really far down.
You only get to hold your position because you succeeded.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you mess up, you get stuck on the wall somehow, and Scythe flips you with an air off stage, and it's really, really bad.
Yeah,
and
if you like drift back.
This Scythe is looking very, very good. I was talking about how heavily the gauntlets were played in the last game, but Bamya holds on to the Scythe. Marker actually inviting the Scythe mirror here. We'll see if he can has some tricks up his sleeve off stage. You need to make something big happen. The sidelight is a good start. Another sidelight. He chases chase dodge downwards. If he went for Nair instead, it could have been really good. Another sidelight there, reading these dodges. Bamya is scrambling to find the stage.
Okay, he's got him off stage. That was a great dodge read. Gets the sidelight, disarms Bamya. Bamya is it's very risky.
What are we doing? Why are we ground pounding?
That ground pound was crazy. Okay, gauntlets picked up. Let's see if Bamya puts the first down to the game out. No, just stares him right away. Marker going to look for the recovery here.
End-light recovery. Can't find it. Bamya gets an end-light instead.
Okay, end-light not going to knock out just yet. Bamya looking for recovery possibly. I imagine just dash jump recovery off the ground. I mean, one more end-light could knock out too. He's not going to switch the Scythe. Goes for the same knockout he started the game with in the Nair. Will catch Marker jumping off the edge. Marker probably surprised, I guess, that he dodged the first recovery there, but Bamya really clutching up at the end. It was looking so good for Marker on the Scythe. And you mentioned it, right? You were surprised that he invited the Scythe Ditto. We were watching Bamya win the Scythe Ditto the entire set. And then he surprised us both by bringing Bamya to the edge, disarming him, and then at the very end, he couldn't close it.